So before we talk finals, Coach, welcome to the show. We always enjoy talking to you. Were you shocked that Tom Thibodeau was let go by the Knicks after arguably their best, not even arguably, statistically their best season in recent memory?
Yeah, in like 25 years. Half the players on the Knicks weren't even born the last time they had a season like this.
Is that a shocking firing to you?
I didn't see it coming because they've gotten better each year, and Thibodeau has kind of laid the groundwork for that kind of performance. And then they knock off the world champion Celtics in the round before. And quite frankly, it's very, very difficult. As good as the Knicks were and as good as they played, their two best offensive players are probably their weakest defensive players. And I think it's always difficult to build your team around those two great offensive players when they're the guys you almost got to take out of the game at the very end for the last possession when you're playing offense-defense. But there's no question Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns are a force. They're great fourth-quarter players. But I guess James Dolan decided, hey, get to the Eastern Conference Final. There's not enough. The Knicks got to win it all. Now they got to start over again. Who are they going to get the coach? Is Jay Wright coming out of retirement? Are they going to get Danny Hurley?
How about Jim Larrañaga stepping
I'm volunteering. I can last a half a season. I've done that before.
We have breaking news. Jim Larrañaga is in the hat.
But this is the NBA.
Yeah. Coach, something from a coaching perspective that we talked about when it broke, earlier this week, is it's so much easier to scapegoat a coach than say we made a mistake with building our team, isn't it? Do you look at it that way where they gave all them picks up for Mikal Bridges? Their two best offensive players can't play defense, but it's easy to say, oh yeah, he didn't know what he was doing.
Yeah, no, I think the main thing is how the media portrays you. And what they keep saying about Tibbs is he doesn't use his bench wisely. The other teams are deeper because they go to their bench more frequently. And, some of that might be true, and some of that might be, hey, those guys aren't good enough to win. We look in college, and this is the way I looked at it. The college game is 40 minutes. All right. It's like a 10-round fight, 4 minutes a round. All right. To get to the first TV timeout, you got a 4-minute round. Try to win that round. Then from 16 down to 12, try to win that round. And now you're subbing. Those subs got to win their rounds. And everybody now looks at the plus minus after games. What does a guy do when he's in the game? Well, if he's a minus 12, that means while he's in the game, you're losing. We had one player, not this past season, the year before, we lost in overtime, but when he was in the game, we were a minus 22. And he wants to earn more playing time. I said, well, the next time only be like a minus 6 or 8 because maybe I can stick with you then. But when you're a minus 22, you're not earning playing time. You're earning bench time.
There's probably an analogy to make here because we watched I don't know if you watched the Panthers-Oilers last night, game 1, but there's a bit of a debate. The Oilers, Edmonton, has Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, two superstars. The Panthers have a deeper team. They've got a superstar in Sasha Barkov and their goalie, Sergei Bobrovsky, but the Panthers have a deeper team. And I wonder, just from a coaching standpoint, because I've asked several analysts this week, who would you rather have? The Oilers with bona fide superstars, Connor McDavid, arguably the best player in the league, or would you rather have a team that goes 4 lines deep in hockey? What about in basketball? Would you prefer to coach, if you're looking at it, I guess, in rounds and having to sub guys out, would you rather have a team that's deep? And there's probably something to say about the NBA Finals in this too. But would you rather have a team that's deep and maybe unremarkable, or would you rather have a team that has a bona fide elite level superstar?
I think the first thing is you want leadership. So you want those great players because they normally have to deliver the knockout punch. You like to have a bench. You like to have some depth because, quite frankly, injuries play such a big role. I mean, Jason Tatum went down in the Knicks Celtics series. I mean, those kind of injuries play a big role. So you want both is really the answer. You want the superstars that are in the fourth quarter finishing the job, but you also want guys who are good enough to come in off the bench and give those stars a good rest, because the criticism by the media was that Tibbs didn't sub enough. Well, you can't sub a lot if your bench is not that good.
And Coach, one other thing they were saying about Tibbs is that the offense just was Jalen Brunson dribbling around, which I saw that a lot watching the games where, to your point, is it that I don't have guys I trust offensively? Or is it my damn best offense is Jalen Brunson going one-on-one and trying to score? We kind of talked about this with some guys you've coached in the past.
Okay, so I texted with Jay Wright. I said to him, are you coaching the Knicks this year? Because they're running your Villanova offense that won 2 national championships. Now, college and the NBA are different, but those players that he coached play just like they did at Villanova. Their roles are identical. You add then Karl Anthony Towns, and now you got a big man that can score. So what I would say is, if the Knicks win that first game instead of the crazy shot that went in, they win the series. They're in the finals. And then if they lose to OKC, do you fire Tibbs because he didn't win the championship? What is the standard that the Knicks are setting? If you don't win the title, you're done. So, and how many trades will they make now? Because are they saying, hey, our bench is not good enough? We got to get the draft, and then we got to trade. You guys were just talking about, the Heat have the 20th pick. All right, who do they get? Who's the guy that's going to make the difference in getting us from finishing, battling to get the 8th spot in the playoff to getting in that top 4, top 3, even top 1?
A lot tougher for New York, Coach, after they traded 5 first-round picks for Mikal Bridges. I think that's what ends up being the deciding factor, because you talk about how the media portrays the head coach, and certainly that's a factor. But at the end of the day, the East seemed to be as wide open as it's been in my lifetime, Coach. And the Knicks went all in on Mikal Bridges. They traded Julius Randle, who's a cornerstone of their franchise, for Karl Anthony Towns. They made those all-in moves, and they still fell short. I think that's ultimately why, because it was the Pacers and not Boston that bounced them. That's why they ended up axing Tibbs.
Well, whatever the reason, who are they going to hire now? Who do you get that can come in and take the Knicks from the Eastern Conference Finals to the NBA championship and win a world title? Who can do that?
And like you're saying,
Kenny Crowder, you must be available now.
No, if they said what they say, Mike Malone. Wasn't that a name that popped up?
Mike Malone's won a world championship with the Denver Nuggets. Now
it's like you
Jokic.
So Tyrese Halliburton doesn't hit that shot at the end of game 1.
Yeah,
Tom Thibodeau very likely still has a head coaching job in New
that's
York
what I
in the
was saying.
It's crazy.
The crazy shot at the end of game 1.
And
the whole thing is nuts.
One more thing we talked about. Tibbs is not a likable person, just his personality. You're charismatic, you joke, you play around. Tibbs isn't coming on the show with us if he was the UN head coach. Like, does that hurt him? Does it hurt coaches that really aren't charismatic and just want to coach basketball?
Yeah, I don't know that. In college, it's the way your administration views your sport. What kind of financial support are they giving? What kind of fan support do you get? Like, one of the things you got to admire, and I'll use Duke University. When Mike Krzyzewski took that job, and he struggled in the first few years of his career at Duke, their athletic director, Tom Butters, gave him an extension and shut up all the critics. And then Coach K went on to become the winningest coach in college basketball history. Now he's turned it over to not only one of his former players, but his whole staff, the former players' staff, John Shire's staff, is all Duke guys. So there's a tradition and a continuity. You don't see that many places in college athletics now. Now, especially since the portal and the NIL, you know what it's like? Playing poker. You deal out the cards, and then the next hand, you got a whole new hand. Right now, college basketball coaches are looking at their hand this summer, starting this June. The kids are just arriving on campus and saying, hey, what's that guy's name? Where did he play? Oh, yeah, he's the transfer from Idaho that we got in. He didn't cost us much in NIL. I mean, this stuff is crazy. And then you got to try to develop a relationship and then build chemistry and a bond with the players. And the game has changed. I go back to what the Knicks have to do to replace Thibodeau. I don't know who they get. That's going to be a very, very big shoes to fill.
Did you see, by the way, the reports of what Cooper Flagg made in NIL? There were reports last week. It was like $28 million.
Yeah, about over 5 years, though. It's not that much. It's only about $5 or $6 million a year.
I mean, how could you
for an 18-year-old? That's normal.
How can you effectively coach a team when the player, supposedly your subordinate, is way more valuable than you'll ever be?
Well, that's the NBA, right?
Yeah.
And college sports has become professional sports. All these kids are getting paid very, very well. And my hopes at some point will actually have rules. There's no rules right now. So everybody's just doing their own thing and reaching into the portal and getting the best guys that they can afford to get. And it is like an auction item. Hey, up for sale. This guy is going to be $1 million. I bid $1 million too. I bid $1.5 million.
You know what? The way to combat that is then you auction off the playing time. Now the kids, they've got all the money. Now at practice, you auction off the playing. Who wants to be a starter tonight? I'm going to start at 10K. 10K for my first starter tonight. A guy like Cooper Flagg, that's nothing for him. He starts every game. It costs him about $180,000.
Okay, so let's go to the finals tonight. My guy, Rick Carlisle paid for me. I recruited him twice. Once when he was at Worcester Academy at a prep school, and then once when he decided to transfer out of Maine. And he came to the University of Miami. My wife kind of sealed the deal, though. I got to tell you that. So Rick Carlisle was trying to decide between Virginia, Providence College, and Maine. And Preston Carlisle, his dad, called the house, and I was on the road recruiting. And he spoke to my wife and said, look, I'm worried about Rick coming to Virginia. You got the number one team in the country with Ralph Sampson. And I don't want him sitting the bench. So I need to talk to your husband and be sure that Rick's going to get a chance to play. And my wife said to him, listen, if he's afraid of not playing, he probably should just go to Maine. But I'll tell you this, my husband doesn't recruit bench warmers.
That's a great answer.
Rick decided to come, and he helped us get to the Final Four in his senior year.
Well,
and he's been in the NBA since 1984.
Let's look at the NBA Finals real quick here before we run out of time. Everyone has OKC. I have not seen a single analyst, player, pundit pick Indiana to win the series. Many people are saying 4 games, 5 games at the most. How do you see the NBA Finals playing out?
Two teams that are mirror images of each other. Is OKC a fraction better? Well, if you based it on the regular season, the answer is yes. OKC had a better regular season. They finished first in the West. Indiana, they finished 4th in the East. But the way the Pacers played in this last round, the way they're defending, how much pressure they put on ball handlers and shooters, I think the way they match up is very, very good. And this game very well may come down to the bench, because I think the starters are going to kind of neutralize each other. And the guys who come off the bench, guys like T.J. McConnell, who, when you look at him, he doesn't even look like an NBA player, but his production off the bench is sensational. And Mathern, he's the same. He's having a great come off the bench and be that guy who gives you a lift every night, defensively or offensively. But OKC has proven it over a long period of time. So I certainly wouldn't bet against them tonight, because they're at home. And even though they've had a lot of rest, they could be a little rusty. They could be a little bit out of sync, but I doubt it. I think they'll play well. But I think this will be a great series, and I wouldn't be surprised if it went 6 or 7.
Oh, all right. So you don't see it being a runaway like most others?
No. They're both very, very, very good defensive teams.
Hey, Coach, and what's your take? The thing that's been going on waiting for the finals is this free throw merchant. I think Doris Burke kind of coined the phrase talking about SGA, where he really drives the lane herky-jerky, and it seems like he's trying to get somebody to push him so he can throw it up. As a coach, is there a problem? He doesn't go up like Kobe and Jordan does, but he's still leading the league in scoring, even though he's going to the line a lot more.
I love players who get to the line. How can you not say that when you say a free throw merchant, that's a positive. This is the guy that you can't guard, so you foul him because he fakes. I told you before on one of our shows, I said you got to control 3 things. The first thing you got to do is control yourself. He does that. He's totally in control. The second thing you got to do is control your defender. He does that. He has that guy herky-jerky jumping in the air trying to block his shot. That's perfect. And then you have to control the other 8 guys on the floor. He's still a great facilitator. He's getting his teammates involved. He's controlling the game. That's why he's the player of the year. He's MVP. Yeah. SGA is a hard guy to guard. He lives at the foul line. And he gets everybody in foul trouble. That puts a lot of pressure on Rick Carlisle. What am I going to do if Halliburton's in foul trouble? Well, you know what they're going to do? I know this. They're not going to have. They're not going to match them up. They don't want. They don't want Halliburton in foul trouble trying to guard that joker.
Good luck, Obi Toppin, who spent a lot of time on SGA. We were talking about it yesterday, though, Coach. SGA statistically, based on metrics, advanced stats, is having and just raw numbers too. His regular season, his MVP season, is record book stuff. Like Jordan-esque. Do you consider him? Because the other day we asked you about Tyrese Halliburton, and you said, hey, he's not a superstar yet. That's reserved for the very few select players in the NBA. Do you consider SGA already, based on what he's done, a superstar
and it
in
was
the game?
Statistically and also league MVP, very possible finals MVP. Like, he'll have every accolade
Scoring
that's
title.
important. Scoring
First team
title.
All-NBA. Yeah.
Okay, here's my answer. If he does all those, if he accomplishes all those things, yeah, then he's a superstar. Then he belongs. If you're the finals MVP, that means
But does it feel like
best
it?
in the
But does
world.
it feel like it?
I'm sorry, Hawk?
Does it feel like it, though? Does it feel like he's on that level?
Okay, what it doesn't feel like is the look test. You know, when you watch him, he's not dunking the ball a la Michael Jordan or Kobe or some of the LeBron, some of the great players. But as far as controlling the game of basketball, he's the best there is in the business right now. I mean, he is what I consider Jokic to be at the 5. SGA is at the point.
Jim Larrañaga. You watch any Panthers last night?
No, but I love listening to you guys.
We got to get you out. We got to get you out to bang the drum before one of the Stanley Cup final
I need an invitation, man.
You should have come to our watch party last night at Funky Budo. Why didn't we think of that? Next time.
You got to invite me.
I know. Next time. Thank you, Coach L. We love talking to you. We'll talk to you in a week.
All right, guys. I'll see you. I'll be in Hilton Head next week.
Well,
I'll bring my computer so I can talk to you from the beach.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
I'll be on the Jersey Shore. I'll be talking to you from the Jersey Shore.
All right, guys.
See you, Coach.
Yes, sir.